guess the best way to say it is just a young man from Dade County with Southern roots. A lot of people, may portray me as quiet or outspoken, as one or the other. I like to tiptoe on the line of being confident and arrogant. I think there's a very thin line between it, but it's what makes me me.
I'm a beast, I'm a dog, I'm a problem. I'm somebody who wants to help people, somebody who wants to give. I'm a natural healer, so I kind of gravitate towards healing people or always trying to educate or trying to push positivity in their life as I do myself. So.
To celebrate one another, whether you're a teacher, a real estate agent, a single parent, or just a guy who's trying to find their way in life, this podcast is just something for everybody.
There's a whole bug in here. I think that hit off. We was in class, and I think we were waiting on the same album to drop or mixtape to drop, Iceberg. We was waiting on that same moment. I was like, I came in there. He knew I know nothing about Florida, but I was all about it. I love Florida artists, so he's like, for real? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you waiting on who? And I'm like, yeah, same person. So I think that's when our friendship really kicked off.
I think I owe the people, just because I am the people. People who look just like me, they don't have a platform to say their stories or tell their truths. Oftentimes we just go with the flow. We just accept everything, but in reality, everything is not okay. So giving them this platform to have is gonna make all the difference in the world. And I think it's on me. I think that's my way of life. I think that is my purpose in life, is to give the people something like this.
I think it's gonna be a casual conversation that Josh and I always have. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Josh and I talk about everything. Anything that comes to mind, we'll spark an idea and go with it. I think that's just gonna be another conversation him and I have, but not everybody gets to listen to those conversations that him and I have. So it's just another opportunity for somebody else to hear something, hear how we are. We went to school with a lot of people, so I know a couple people have reached out to him and asked, for him and I to do one, just because, okay, we hear everything that everybody else has to say. What do you guys have to say alone? You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a normal conversation, Josh and I.
George Floyd, that was, for the first time in my life, I could say I saw someone murdered on camera. And, man, that was real. That caught me off guard right there, like. I owe it to myself. My community. That's who. It ain't no edits. This is real. Make purpose popular. Yeah. That's what it is. Make purpose popular. And that was a good question, bro. Because for the first time, I actually had to think about why I did it. And that's why. I'm good. You go.
I just hope the podcast reaches who it needs to reach. Again, can't get everybody with one episode. You know, some guests might say something that hits a certain crowd, and then other guests might say something that gets a totally different crowd. So it's gonna take off, but first it needs to hit everybody that it needs to hit, and then from there it's gonna go up. I think we're doing the right thing.
Welcome back to Opinionated the Podcast, Miami edition. I'm your host, Joshua Hicks, and alongside me, as always, is my brother from another mother, Ree Washington. Ree,
yes,
first
sir.
episode back. We got some microphones, man.
Everybody's been talking about it.
Been DMing us, texting us, emailing us. Yes, we got microphones now. We'll be okay.
We appreciate the feedback.
Thank y'all for the support and love.
Yeah, that's the only way they know.
That's really it. They've been wanting to ask us, who we are, right? We've interviewed a bunch of people now, but yet nobody knows about us. So I guess I could start it off and just say a little bit about myself, and then you'll go. But essentially, I tell people I'm just a kid from Miami with Southern roots. 2-parent household. Just nobody special. We got a platform now that we're trying to build, where we're giving regular people just like ourselves an opportunity to tell their life stories and experiences, just to let everybody know, it's okay to be normal. It's okay to make purpose popular.
A lot of people are normal.
Exactly.
I feel like you get lost in the sauce.
Too much sauce. But, Reed, just tell them a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, so grew up with my dad. Stayed with him most of my time, so got 4 sisters, by the way, so I think growing up was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of had to cope with everything. My big sister right now, like we're like this. You know what I mean? Not saying like my other sisters, but I look at her as a brother as well, and I tell her that like you could have been my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we that
That's
close.
the Bristol right there.
That's the Bristol.
Brother, sister, Bristol.
But no, I definitely think your upbringing has a lot to do with who you are today, and then where you get your Southern roots. I met your moms and pops, so
yeah,
you can see them in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you met my dad, and you heard him. You can see him in me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with me, my parents was the standard, right? I had to live up to a standard, and it wasn't a bad thing, but they had expectations a lot of times, and the expectation was, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna get that education, you're gonna become a great young man. That was their expectation of me. There wasn't any additional pressure that I felt, let's say, but I knew that I had to live up to a higher standard. So for most people, like going to high school, getting a high school diploma, that was expected in my household. Going to college, that was expected. Getting a master's, I gotta admit, that was expected.
Yeah.
So with me, I won't say feared not reaching that expectation, but I always had that little voice in the back of my head that was saying, hey, you got to go get it. It's expected out of you. And sometimes it may have been like just a little burden where it was like, am I doing enough? Not the fact that I wasn't meeting expectations, but could I exceed those expectations?
I think that's the biggest challenge, though. I know with me, it was what I wanted to do, he was going to support it. And he still tells me that to this day, like, whatever you want to do, I got your back. So let's say I didn't want to go to college. I don't think he would have pushed me to do it. But at the same time, like, I would have been doing something productive, something to get myself out there and stand on my own 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? So I think, how can I say this? I think it was just him just being there. And then, okay, I know he's going to catch me if I fall, but he's also going to let me walk my own path.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing when, like, comes to parenting. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to help guide you, but you're going to walk your own way. I'm going to let you go through your own trials and tribulations. I'm going to let you get hurt.
Yeah.
Where you can feel that feeling. You can put that emotion with those actions, and that's why you're not going to do that again.
Yeah. And with you had siblings. So for me, I was the only child. So with me, I always tell people I'm a mama's boy, but I'm my dad's son. Which means you got to play devil's advocate a little bit, and that might be a word that's not most appropriate, but what I mean by that is just saying, hey, I'm a mama's boy at heart, like just like most boys, they're a mama's boy, but at the same time, hey, I got to be that little man for my dad. I got to be junior almost. So always found myself making sure that whatever I was doing in life, I knew that that's what was going to make them look good and make them happy.
I think that's what we all strive to do sometimes. Sometimes as kids, like you want to make your
you want to make your parents proud, and that's what I think keeps me going. Is that I didn't come from a rough upbringing, but at the same time, I know that I want my parents to have a better life. So if they took care of me, I want to provide that. If they took care of me my whole life, I want to be able to retire moms. I want to be able to get her that house. I want to get my dad that car.
But something that my OG told me, he was like, you live, once as a man, twice as a child. You grow up, you need help.
Yep.
And you live in that man's world where you're doing help and you're helping everybody.
Exactly, man.
And then you go back and you get older again, and then you start needing help. So that's always stuck with me. And again, like you said, you want to help them. Like, okay, they provided most of your life and helped you, so it's like, okay, it's my time to give back. And I think that's a pressure everybody has. Again, to like help, please their parents in a way. You don't want to let them down. I mean, you let them down, you feel like you're letting yourself down as well. Yeah,
and I mean, I want to transition to a little bit about college, right?
Okay.
Where we met, and tell that story about how we met first. Because I know you got your version and I have mine, so go ahead.
I mean, we met in seminar, but other than that, I think when we officially really met, I think it was in the classroom, and again, we explained it on the prior episode, just we both was waiting for the same person to drop their mixtape, and I was like, okay. And we was already on the football team, so we knew of each other. I don't think we
knew of each other, but we didn't have that. We didn't actually really have that full conversation.
For sure.
Because you played defense, I played offense. So during training camp, a lot of times we're split until we see each other on the practice field.
But then we walked into the classroom, and I was just looking for a familiar face that I knew. I'm like,
let's be real. When he said familiar face, everybody, it was only 3 black people in the class. So,
and he played football.
He took the 33% chance of sitting by me.
So I sat by you then. I'm like, man, like, I was always showing up late, but at the same time, like, I was waiting for and then we talked about that, and then I was like, okay, cool. Like, I think since that day, he was like, bro, this man messed with, like, Florida music. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, because I never met anybody from Kansas City, like, who knew anything about Miami music, so it was just another respect. But I guess what I want to say, and I don't even know if you want to talk about this, but I think it's a part of your growth and who you are as a man. Illinois College was not your first stop.
Nope.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I got kicked out of a college. I got released. I think I was taking old habits and trying to bring those into a life that wanted me to prosper in other ways.
Yeah.
I think the things I was doing in high school and prior to that, I think that's what shaped me in that era or that time in my life, in that chapter. That's kind of how I grew up, right? It made me grow that way. So I try to take them same aspects. I try to take those same, whatever I was doing, I was trying to take that and bring it here. Like, I did not care. I was somebody who didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I've always felt like, I think you could vouch for this just from, like, meeting me in college. I think when it comes to chances with me, nobody gives it. So I was one of those people who took it, and I didn't care how you felt.
Yeah.
Because you ain't give me the chance, so I'm going to take my own. You know what I mean? So I try to take those same aspects and then end up getting released. And I think that day forward, like, one of my best friends in high school, his name was Ricardo. He's from Tampa, so that's how I got on with the Florida music. But man, he was up at the school with me. Like, he was spending the night like he went there. Swear to God, like, brought an extra bed in there. It's like having a whole person who don't go to school. Like, I was just like, I felt like I made it. Like, just getting to college, I was like, I want somebody else to make it with me. So I was like, hey, bro, come up here. But he was staying up there with us. And then the night that I got kicked out, they said, look, you got between 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock to get all your stuff. Somebody called my dad. He was disappointed, but he already knew. Yeah. And I think that day it hit me. I think that day it hit me like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? And then I had some, like, other colleges, like, wanting to come play for him. So instantly, like, the next day I hit him up, like, hey, like, you still got that offer. Hey, can we do something about it next year? Like, can we try to get it within the works? just because I'm like, like that day I was like, okay, I can't be doing that no more. I think that was the whole transition.
Yeah.
Didn't really want to go through it, but I probably needed to go through that.
Yeah, but no, I appreciate you sharing that story, because a lot of people didn't even know that you got released from a college before you even got to Illinois.
Yeah.
I think my path was a little different, just for the fact that I knew I wanted to leave the state for college. Illinois came into play in like March. For me, they were the only school that really gave me opportunity to play football. So I took a visit up there, saw the facility. I was like, everything seemed good. It seemed perfect to me.
Yeah.
And I was out of my parents' house. That's really what I wanted. So I got there, got to training camp. You and I met. And for me, my freshman year was a different path than most. And probably not. I used to be study. School, football. I got to college, hey, just like any 18-year-old kid, I was enjoying my life. I was like, hey, I ain't got to report to mom and dad. I can stay up. I'll study tomorrow. And it catches up with you, right?
Sure.
I'll say the lowest my GPA was at college was a solid probably 2.7, 2.8.
Yeah.
And I was definitely easily could have been a 4.0 student. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I know what I could have brought to the table. But I needed to grow. I needed to mature. I didn't understand that, it's okay to do certain things and not be perfect, right? I think I always held myself to this standard where I think I always had to make people happy with my decisions, and I always had to be, perfect. But that's what college is for. It's for the mess ups. Just like, you tell your story where you found out, hey, what am I doing with my life? I think probably after my sophomore year of college, I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I had to mature and grow up.
Well, like you said, like I think it was different for me as well. Like you used to be study. I never studied, bro. Like that wasn't I don't know what studying was. You seen it. Like I didn't know how to study. Like I didn't know how to do my own work. Like I didn't know how to just do it by myself. And then when I got to college, right, it's like a totally different. Like no, I have to actually put that time and effort into this. And I think that just helped build me. Yeah. Like I think you've seen the growth. I think it shaped me in a way. It's like, okay, cool. Like this is who I need to be. Yeah. Because this is the life I want.
Because because we had classes pretty much all throughout college. We at least had one class with each other, at least one semester or the other. And with you, right, our first college class together, you was getting, S, right? And I was getting A's.
S. I'm looking like, yo, how is this man getting all these A's? I was getting mad. Yeah. I was like,
so I got complacent with myself. I was like, college is easy. Yeah. I'm not studying anymore. You flipped it and you was like, I'm gonna study because I got to get my grades up. So your GPA rose and mine dropped.
Sinking.
And it was just like, okay, and then we finally met in the middle. We was like, all right, man, we need to take this a little bit more serious, both of us. And that's what it was. But let's talk about our experiences in Illinois. Not just classes. How did it feel to be there?
In Illinois, or just
in Illinois, man. You in Jacksonville, Illinois. You already know.
I think the best thing we got out of that is, to me at least, is our friendships, the people who we built relationships with, and who we continue to have those with. I talk to you on the daily, Josh, Darius, Greg, Walter, and stuff like that. But I think your friend group is important. Yeah, your whole way of college. People fall off here and there. I think that's natural. I think it's normal when it comes to.
But I think life. when they tell you that your friendships that you make in college are lifelong, people who are gonna be in your wedding, like that's true.
And not college is not for everybody, but at the same time, like I feel like if you don't try to go, or you don't, go get the experience, you're missing out. Just it's not for everybody, but I do think people miss out on those type of friendships. Yeah, because they're different. You can have that childhood friendship, and it grows into something, but it's something about
it's like those friendships that you make in college. They're catching you at a point in your life where
you don't know who you are.
You're probably the most vulnerable. Yeah, because you don't know who you are, right? You're trying to figure everything out. You're faking it till you make it. They can see you at your lowest. They can see you at your highest. They can see you when you're broke and you can't afford a meal.
It's kind of like that, what they say, the nearest gas station that's seen you at your ugliest moments.
Exactly.
Looking ratchet.
Yeah, man. So we graduate from college. I end up going to Grambling State to get my master's in sports administration. You know, I called you right away. Like after my first class, I said, man, this HBCU experience is different. I was like, it's people who look just like me. And you was like, man, hey, I'm about to go to nursing school.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people who looked at us probably in undergrad and were like, we don't know what they're going to do, you know, tell them about your path now. Like, what are you doing right now?
I'm still in nursing school. So my path it's always been different for some reason. Like, it's always a longer one. I don't know why, but maybe it's just for me.
Yeah.
Right, to learn something on that path and take it forward and then possibly, you know, teach the next person or help the next person out. But my first year of nursing school didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. I went in there hyped, like, okay, I got to accept it. You know, I was like, cool, I'm going to do the damn thing. I'm going to do it. And then it was hard. I'm just like, man, this is another beast. So college, when I went to college, it was so different. And then going into nursing school, it's a totally different avenue. It's totally different. And then it just didn't go the way I expected. And then my second year at it, like, this school made you, you know, sit out an entire year just to take that one course because they wanted to just put you in it. So the second year, it didn't go the same way. I'm just like, man, okay, I gotta transfer. So I'm still in nursing school, still doing it. You know, I'm gonna finish. Yeah. I think for me, it's just staying consistent at it, putting that time and effort into it. It's gonna pop when it needs to pop. I think most people would have given up. It's a motor in me. Yeah. It don't stop. You know, it's just when you tell me something negative, I'm like, okay, that's gonna be a little fuel to my fire. But then I think people get caught up in that realm where when they try to use somebody else's word, like they're trying to prove that point to that person. Just prove it to yourself that you could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, what about you?
I mean, with me, you know, went to Grambling. Cool. I think I want to discuss, like, my books, right? Like, when I went to writing, I remember you were calling me one day. You're like, man, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm in the library writing a book. And you was like, a book? And I was like, yeah, I'm writing a book. And you was just like, all right, do your thing. Like, it wasn't nah, man, you ain't writing no book or you can't do it. You just like, do your thing. Hit me up when you done. And it was like a quick 3-week process. And I was just like, hey, I'm done. And you was like, man, you wrote a book. And it was essentially our lives in college, right? You know, and I tell people, hey, it's easy to say that your life is an open book, but how many people could put pen to pad? Yeah. And one book led to another. The second book led to this podcast.
Why did you write the first book? What was your first book called?
First book was college. First book was College Uncensored, and it was just basically telling the life stories and untold experiences of college students in today's world. And I just wanted to get that point across of I went to a predominantly white institution, the PWI, and then I was fortunate enough to go to HBCU, which are completely two different experiences. Yeah. But I needed that. I needed to go to Illinois to mature and grow up. But I needed to go to Grambling in Louisiana
to find yourself.
To not only find myself, but figure out my purpose in life. And once I found both of those, I was like, okay, this is the man I want to be. And I mean, I was fortunate enough to find that at such a young age. A lot of people, they're still struggling to figure out who they are, what their purpose is in life. But just that experience at Grambling helped me bring this podcast about, right? And the podcast came about, for lack of better terms, during quarantine. It wasn't because I was bored, but I saw a man be murdered on TV. Yeah. And nothing was being done. Or we gave it a quick little 15 seconds, and you know, you show it on CNN or whatever the case may be, and that's it. Then you see another person of color get killed, and then another person of color get killed, and that weighs on you. Like, my mind was uneasy because I knew, one, we're in quarantine, so there's not much you can do, right? I didn't want to risk my family's health going out there protesting or even becoming another black man slain on TV, right? Just for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So I said, what was the best platform for me to speak my mind and get others' opinions as well? And this podcast came about. And I told you, I was like, hey, I want to come up with a podcast to not only just promote my experience, your experience, but promote regular people's lives on a higher platform.
I think it's important because I think we get caught up in that, you know. I think people only tie into what celebrities are doing.
Yeah.
Or people with a name.
Exactly.
Or a blue check mark, you know, and they kind of forget that you got everybody down the street who really support you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got the people in your corner right there, and you're not paying no attention to them, you know, because you're so caught up in this life that you want or that you envision, or you see what I'm saying? So it's just like, excuse me, like I think that's the biggest thing, like putting other people's ideas and thoughts and
exactly.
You know, everybody, you know, some people have those thoughts and they think to themselves, but they are not the ones to actually say it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have somebody like yourself and me. Okay, cool. Come over here and say it, like, because everybody needs to hear it.
Yeah, everybody. I think everybody needs that 15 minutes of fame, right? Regardless of what the platform is, you need to speak your story, because everybody's story is different. You never know. Yeah, you never know who it can touch, who might be needing your words to inspire them to do better or get out of a place that mentally they're checked out.
But you know, it's crazy too. I just thought about it, like, you know, maybe hearing themselves talk in front of people, giving everybody knowledge or game or just advice, like maybe they probably help themselves.
Exactly.
They probably turn around like, damn, okay, I said this, but I don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. I think that's a big thing, and I think the further that we get away from telling the truth and being honest and, you know, with other individuals, the more you'll get hated for it if you do speak that truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the route that we're trying to, like, you know, kind of get it back on the right path. I mean, we two people, so who are we? You know what I mean? Like, what can we really do? But we're doing something, again, it's touching who it needs to touch.
Exactly. And one of our key sayings that we liked, that, you know, we said the other day, was making purpose popular.
Yeah.
Finding your why. Finding who you are. And I get that saying from Toby Wigwe, but make purpose popular. Don't get lost in social media and what other people may be portraying that their life is. Just keep living your life, because you never know what can happen tomorrow.
See, I think my personal opinion, I think they should take the time and focus on themselves. You know, prior to episodes, we have some guests, dope ass guests, who actually really go into depth about it. But find yourself, like, you know, take care of yourself first. You know what I mean? Like, for that you have enough fruit to give somebody, you can give them some of your fruit, because you have enough that it's not going to hurt you in any way. It's kind of like it's like the fishing rod metaphor that I like to use. You know, you just imagine yourself going fishing, and you on the end of a dock, and you cast your line all the way out there. You're so far gone. You're so lost. You're so, like, you know, you taking everybody's emptiness, happiness, you know, their depression. You take so much of everybody else, and you're not finding yourself, right, to the point where when anybody could take from you, because you're so far, they taking from your line back here, because you don't even know, you know. So when you reeling that in, you don't have nothing but them. You don't even know who yourself is, instead of just dropping that fishing line right in front of you, you know, and vibrating on your own frequency, walking your own purpose in life. And those who align with you are going to be there. They're supposed to be there, you know. But I think we get lost in that, and they don't understand that somebody with the lower vibrating frequency is not able to swim up to your, you know, your rod, you know, that hook, because you vibrate too high. And then as you walk your purpose in life, it's like, okay, you guys gravitate towards each other. You see what I'm saying?
So we got a big season coming up, the second half of the season.
Yes, we do.
We came out with some great content in Kansas City, but we had to come to Miami.
I appreciate everybody in Kansas City who participated, who believed in me, believed in you, who supported. That was the biggest thing. So I appreciate it. That was our goal. That was our first goal.
Oh, yeah. So, like, what do you expect out of the second half of the season from Miami?
I already know you got the roster all the way lined up. It's more good content. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I can't hold expectations on people I don't know. I just hope when they sit down in that chair, they're like, okay, I'm going to be me today, and I'm going to say what I came here to say.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you try to have a script for it, and we found out really early.
Yeah.
Scripts was very hard to put on a conversation that can go south and go north really quick. So what do you think? For your guest who you brought on this,
For me,
Miami
it's
edition.
different now because in Kansas City, I had to interview people that I had just met.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get the opportunity to interview people that I've known for some years,
Mm-hmm.
and they've also seen the previous episode, so now they're able to understand what we're trying to bring to the table. So I think in this second half of this season, we're going from not as much serious talk,
Mm-hmm.
but we're now diving into the depths of people's lives, experiences, their jobs, what is their why, what is their purpose.
Yeah.
And we're
Like that.
and I think we'll hit it. I think we'll hit the nail on the head this season. But we just gotta keep going.
For sure.
I
I think viewers or just in general have to understand that not everything somebody says is gonna apply to your life.
Mm-hmm.
But you could take bits and pieces of it and you can apply it to different
Exactly.
aspects in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna I think you have a barber,
Yeah.
on the roster, and he cuts hair. Can a lot of people relate to that? No, but maybe his story, maybe his backstory, or his hustle, or his drive is something that you guys can take and like apply that to a different aspect or a different area that you do. So,
And I think people just need to stick around for the ride because it's about to get interesting.
let's talk about that. Talk about the ride, the consistency or the inconsistency that people that they don't.
Just understanding that, hey, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
So the process, we invested a lot into ourselves, but not only ourselves, we have people who believe in us and want us to do better and be better. And that means everything in the world to me and you. So, yes, you may have saw the first few episodes where they're like, oh, your audio is not clear, it's not as great. But we had people who also said, hey, we're going to get that fixed for you. We're going to handle that for you. And that meant everything in the world. Like, we're betting on ourselves. And you know me, I bet on black, so we about to hit.
For sure.
And just stay consistent. We're trying to give you content every week that you can apply to your life. It may not be specifically for you, but you can give it to someone else. It's free game. Why make you struggle if I know the answers to the test?
For sure. Why not teach you that? I think it's important to roll the dice on yourself. You're not going to be successful at everything. I think you and I both know that.
Exactly.
I think everybody knows that. Like, just be opportunistic. Take the opportunity. Okay, cool. If it don't work for you, keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like, okay, at least you tried it.
Yeah.
But then you took something from that. Okay, cool. Like, I'm not good at that, but you found something that you was good at within that, opportunity. But also, I think people get lost in that. They want everybody to bet on them, but they're not putting that work in. It's like, no, you're not gonna be able to hold that bet up if you do get
You're not gonna get that instant success.
Exactly. So I think the journey, the ride, the process. You got to fall in love with the progress.
I believe people who have seen us from freshmen in college to now have seen how far we have come to being better men.
We on the way.
He's Ree Washington. I go by the name of Joshua Hicks. This is another great episode of Opinionated, the podcast, Miami edition. Love, always. This week doesn't come with a story, but a word, effort. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Your effort is what defines you. If you're able to give the maximum effort of your ability each day, then you shouldn't expect any less from others who are in your circle. Be weary of those who drain not only you, but your effort. If they cannot motivate, inspire, or pray for you, the lines are no longer blurred, and you must draw the line in the sand. Anticipate greatness, because you, my friend, were put here to shine. So don't fall short this week because your effort cost you. As always, God bless. Selah.